Welcome to GVSV.
Welcome back to GVSV. This is going to be our Q&A / comments commentary episode.
Our first Q&A.
Yes, and this is going to be for Heartstopper Season 1. So, actually, I sent Carl into the comment section to dig these questions out.
Yes. Blame me. And
Well, I was just going to just pull the top 3 and be like, okay, I'm done.
But that would negate finding questions, which is imperative for a question and answer session.
So Carl went in and pulled actual questions.
That's right.
So now
we have a question and answer session.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Let's go. So Gary Prime has been like a day one person, commenter, and really supportive, which we really appreciate you, Gary. You got at least 2 questions in here. So Gary goes, since you're wanting questions, did either of you have a will they, won't they experience with your friend group in school? Let's start there, and we'll get to the rest of his.
Yeah.
I did not, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I was never thinking that way. I was never thinking about this person's flirting with that person, or they're going to get in a relationship. That just never crossed my brain housing group.
I feel like that's all I talked about with the people that I talked with. No. It was just us sitting there on the phone because we didn't text back then. Mm-hmm. And just like that just seemed like what we did instead of social media after school was you get home. If you had homework, you did homework, and then you would call your friends, and then you would just talk. And you would just sit there on the phone for hours and talk. And then eventually you'd run out of stuff. Yeah. Eventually we'd run out of stuff to talk about. And we just, I guess for lack of a better word, it was almost like gossip. Where it was like, hey, who's dating who's seeing who might be dating who, or, who could date who. And yeah. For better or worse, there was probably a little will they, won't they in there as far as, oh, hey, I see this person hanging out with that person, And I guess not just high school, but the military.
I never had that experience.
We definitely had that experience, but like out at sea, like but like we would start a deployment,
mm-hmm.
and next thing you know, you would see, guy X and girl Y, who obviously are not together or are presently married to other people, and then by the end of the deployment, it's like, oh, they're together now.
I mean, we would like, oh, there that goes. I mean,
yeah.
But there was like, oh, there that goes, and that was the beginning and the end of it. There was no further discussion. It was just, okay, I guess that's your deployment wife,
or soon to be real wife, because they get back and they pretty much break up their initial relationships. Yeah, I know.
That's the way it be sometimes.
Exactly.
My guy.
Next question.
Well, it's part of Gary's comment. All right. So, did Alex sense Carl have a crush on someone, or did Carl suspect Alex have a crush on someone? Again, no, I didn't. Because much like today, I just don't think in those terms. Or not think in those terms, but I don't pay attention to those things.
Yeah, but I did, as stated earlier. So, I mean, I remember there was someone in our friend group that you asked out and pretty much saw it coming before it came.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I asked her out before you asked her out.
That story.
Oh, yeah. Next.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. All right. He says Nick's mom was pretty cool about being told about Nick and Charlie dating. How did your guys' parents take the news of your first relationships? Mine is decidedly going to be different than yours,
So why don't you go first?
right? When I started dating, they were like, "Oh yeah, that tracks.
That tracks.
That tracks." He likes. It's just.
Yeah.
I've always been. I guess the word is no. The word's not amorous, but my creative stint away from this, I'm telling on myself now, is poetry.
Yeah.
Before we finish sophomore year, I read everything that Shakespeare's ever written. I tend to write and destroy, because I write well. I am terrified about what people might think about that writing. So either I distribute my writing under a pseudonym so nobody notices me, or I just destroy it.
Or you post it to your AOL homepage and I copy paste it and submitted it. Yeah, I submitted it to the school literary magazine without you knowing.
Yeah, which was not fun. It was fucking terrifying. Jesus. So my parents reacted to me dating well. They just wanted me to be careful. Of all the things you want young men to be careful of, that's, getting folks pregnant. So
That was actually my dad's biggest concern too. No, I mean like even before.
okay.
Like even before I got to, even before I hit puberty, even when I was like still a child in grade school,
Yeah.
better not get some girl pregnant, like nonstop. And then it was like, guess what? I guess I won't.
Well, I mean, it was never that with my parents, better not. It was like be aware of the consequences of your actions.
No, for me it was like practically a threat. Like
No.
you better not.
No. It was like, hey, look, that happens. Guess what happens to your life? It's not going to be what do you want it to be.
Yeah.
Make good choices.
Yeah.
That was my parents' reaction to me dating. Thank you, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, next one. Oh, Gary again. This is from a different video. This is going to be fun. What was your guys' experiences with your first kiss in public?
I have to think about it because I can't remember.
See,
Because I guess it depends on how you define
public, right?
As in like outside of your home or somewhere where other people can and are seeing you.
Yeah, so
Because
that's another thing that's going to be vastly different for you and I.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think about it.
But for me, it
carried social ramifications for you.
It did. So if it was my first kiss in a public setting where other people could see us, it was probably well into my 20s.
Okay.
Well into my 20s. And not even like the first person that I was involved with or seeing or dating, but like relationships like much later in my experience, until I met somebody who felt comfortable enough to have physical affection in an environment where other people could see us.
Here's a play off of Gary's question.
Okay.
All right. Well, and we'll make it so it's something that we all can enjoy. Okay. Because not that Gary asked a question for us to not enjoy, right? Because it's a nice question, right? My first kiss, public, was like puppy love stuff. Talk about young kids.
How
stuff.
old were you?
Oh, I don't know, 10. It was puppy love stuff, You always have this. I'll go. That's my girlfriend and whatnot when you're young, and it was at a public pool, and it was nothing. It was not like this big, deep, passionate kiss, but it is that first, affection type towards somebody outside of your family group.
I mean, but like, was that your first kiss? Or was that just the first kiss outside?
See, and this is where I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Okay. So the public kiss thing is important because it was very, very different for both of us. But what can be the same is What was your first? What was the first kiss that you had in public that didn't give you pause? That it's like, oh, people might see. You never had that.
To this day.
Really?
Yeah.
We're just outside of Manhattan. You feel that way?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean,
You've never had a kiss that made time stop.
here's the thing. I don't want to make this sound like, woe is me, but I feel like I have to be hyper vigilant and aware of where I am and who can see me and what they can see all the time. And that type of hyper awareness creates this anxiety gap. And the times where I have not cared, or the times that I have let myself slip, like, I don't know, I'm driving down the shore with my now husband, and he's either holding my hand or he has his hand on my leg while we're driving through the toll booth. And the person who coming off of the parkway collecting 55 cents because we're going through the toll booth ends up pretty much rejecting my toll, and then I get a $50 ticket in the mail a month later because they can see two guys in a car being amorous together.
Well, I hope that at some point in the future you're able to, because I've seen plenty of folks partake in that type of public display of affection. Plenty gay folks.
No, I'm not saying that people can't, and I'm not saying that people don't. I'm saying for me personally.
And I wish it for you.
Yeah.
I wish it for you, because I was hoping to twist this and ask, have you ever had a kiss that made time stop? Like nothing else mattered in the world. Just you and that person. Like time stops. It's almost like a dome. Boom, comes over you.
In a public setting.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's easy to say, oh, I had this feeling when you're alone. But when the world fades away and only you and that person exists, that's a different type of connection, man.
I understand. But like I said, for me, I haven't had that.
I've had it very few times because I have a hypervigilance problem for an entirely different reason than you. But we won't get that into between me and the therapist. All right. Next. How do you think parents... Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think Nick's way of dumping Imogen was best? What advice would you give to someone going through that? So, the way Harry went about dumping Imogen...
Nick.
Sorry.
You just said Harry.
I did. I'm bad with names to begin with, so please, grace. The way Nick
dumped Imogen. So to recap, he took her to the park.
And if you haven't watched season 1, spoiler
alert. Why are you watching this Q&A?
For real. Took her to the park, and he danced around it. This is supposed to be somebody he's been friends with a long time. And I've been in positions in relationships where I broke up with the person because I needed a friend more than anything.
Yes.
Okay. And I think the type of friends that you can, they're kind of like a warm blanket where you can just kind of dump into, is so fucking underrated, especially for men. Because men don't have those friends. We're just told to suck it the fuck up. Which I'm very good at, just putting shit on a shelf and putting it away. I think he could have handled it better. And I think he could have been more honest. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying, from my perspective, that he could have given her the chance to be the friend that he needed at that time. Especially since that's kind of where he relegated her to be.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think for me, it could have gone a lot worse. And I only speak from personal experience being in his exact same shoes and having a female friend who I knew was interested in me and having to let her down, but not gently enough, because next thing you know, they were kind of rocking back and forth on the couch, just like crying.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I know. So I look at what Nick did and I'm like, you know what? She's not crying.
There's that, right?
So for me, it's a win.
Yeah, I've had to let some girls down in high school,
Yeah.
especially when the rumors were circulating.
Senior year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was dating my current wife,
Mm-hmm.
who goes to a different school. So there's this supposed woman that I'm dating, right? And all of a sudden I have people who haven't been interested in me in 3 years, all of a sudden know my name and flirting with me. I'm like, no, I have a girlfriend. She goes to a different school. I'm not gonna say which school. All right, so that was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
How do you think parents should address sexuality or prepare their kids for meeting people with different sexual identities? Go ahead.
I mean, I think by default, just not. I think what we see in the show Heartstopper and how, for the most part, the parents that we've met are not making an issue of it. Like, Charlie's father has no issue with the fact that his son is that his son is gay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for us, we're already well into season 2. So we've also met Charlie's mother. And, you know, she doesn't have any problem with him being gay. She just has a problem with him not focusing on school.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Which is totally appropriate.
Exactly. So for me, I feel like that's how I wish more parents would address sexuality with their children is, you know, whatever you are is what you are. It's a non-issue to me. I care more about the other things that matter, which is, you know, are you keeping your grades up? Or, you know, how is your mental health? How is your emotional health? How is, like, you know, the simple fact that Charlie comes back from Nick's place and the first thing his father asks him is like, hey, are you hungry? I can make you something to eat. And Charlie's like, no, I ate at Nick's, which he didn't. Mm-hmm. And his father doesn't know that. But, you know, just the simple fact that his parents are there, his parents care, and his parents are not making an issue of the fact that he is gay and not making a fact, you know, of who he's in a relationship with. Just, you know, here are all these other things in your life that matter and matter more and should be the focus.
Yeah. Well, with
your children, I mean, you have children, I don't.
Have children. And it's been very much that. It's been like, even from when they were little, and you see me and my wife were very affectionate. It's important to me, being a girl dad, that they have a male figure in their life that is both emotionally available and affectionate. So they know what that really feels like. All right. And they don't go searching from that for anybody who does not deserve it. All right. Very affectionate with their mother. So they see that a relationship can be like that. And it's not like, oh, I'm being mindful of them. No, but that's the relationship with my wife. I'm just a very affectionate person. All right. But it's always been more important to my wife and I that the kids are happy, that they're healthy, that they have guidance and not discipline. The move from discipline to guidance happens pretty early on. Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas we don't want them running wild. You know, there has to be boundaries. But they also have to realize that those boundaries are there, that they set those boundaries, right? And those boundaries should be set with inner love as the focal point. So, like I've told my daughters, I don't care who it is. So long as they treat you at least as good as I do. At least as good as your mother does. They have to be better. If they are not better, they don't deserve you.
Yes.
So, whomever they date, of any, stripe or color, it's never mattered.
Yeah.
What matters is, were they being well taken care of? Were they being respected? Were they being elevated? My issue as a father is when and if my daughters date down, that the person they're dating becomes an anchor to their lives. And I don't mean like don't support somebody's having a bad time. I'm saying if a person has no ambition and you're an ambitious person, it's not a good match.
Yeah.
And recognize that. Right? But in my house, which you've seen, it's a very loving house, a very understanding house, a very open house. I believe that relationship between parent and child is very important, that you do have to be a parent sometimes, but you should look to be the safe space for your child. It shouldn't be somebody else. When my children are in trouble, I hope I'm the first phone call. All right. And thankfully, I have been.
Yeah.
So that's the type of environment that what my wife and I try to create for our children. And it is our hope that they create, that environment as well. That they find to be the default for how family's supposed to run. Okay.
Is that it for Gary's question?
That was Gary's question. Okay. So we have. Oh, and I have to blow this up. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bingley Austin. Sorry if I murdered that. Question directly for me, SV, aka Carl. Q&A. Many LGBT reactors and commenters have said they wish this had been on TV when they were that age. SV, if it had been on when you were at that age, do you think you would have watched it?
So I want to take that question and I want to twist it a little because I already know the answer.
Okay.
If a TV show like this was not available, but if a TV show like this was publicly accessible in the 90s and a part of pop culture, how do you feel that would have changed our environment in high school? As far as like...
I don't think it would change the environment in high school at all. I think children at that age are just ruthless. They're so hell-bent on acceptance that they forget that other people are trying to find acceptance and they step over each other. There's very little grace at that age.
Yes. But do you feel like the people growing up today are in a completely... I guess not even. I mean, you have your daughters. Like, they're pretty much dealing with the same stuff we were.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to say this. We had it easier. Because we were able to leave school.
And disconnect at the end of the day.
And then these frickin' things came along. This is my phone. It's all black. Like my soul. All right?
And your T-shirts.
And my T-shirts. That's right. With Jughead. All right? They can't get away from it. It's constant. It doesn't stop for these kids. And I feel horrible. This is why I love my youngest. Well, she'll leave her phone at home. She does not have that attachment to it that some kids do, and I love it.
Okay.
I fucking love it. All right? I think that even if this material was available to us when we were younger, I think that dog-eat-dog world of high school and finding yourself and stepping on other people because you don't have the wherewithal still exists.
Yeah.
I think maybe it might have been easier, for the community because of that, representation would be there. So there's something that you can align with, in pop culture.
Yeah. Well, not just the community, but just like me personally.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. That might have been a space for you to go and feel normalized. All right. And that could have been easier. But do I think our high school experience would have been easier? No.
I don't mean I don't mean
I wish
our high school experience. I think just
I just wish
would it would have been different if something like this could have been available.
I think maybe one day in the future,
Yes.
after enough parents have broken enough, generational trauma, we get there. But to take this, put it in the 90s.
Out of context. Yeah. Because I think this only exists now because of everything that came before it. Because I remember even 14 years ago, like when I first, after leaving the military and working for a few years and then quitting my job and going back to like college.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, that was around the time when there was this string of like, not just young, but like very young, like boys in grade school unaliving themselves because they were LGBT, because, they were being ridiculed, because they were, being harassed. Like,
I mean, there's an entire conversation, deep conversation around that.
Yes. But what I'm saying is there were so many that happened in such a short period of time that all of a sudden it was getting like national attention, because it was like, hey, we just had a string of like 5 or 6 boys in the last month. Like, what is going on? And it was just something that I feel like that brought a lot of attention to it. And I feel like that brought enough momentum to cause other things to move forward.
I don't know that we move forward in that, man.
I don't mean...
and I don't want to take this off the rails.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take this off the rails. And
but I mean, forward as far as like just progress towards certain things, like 2015 marriage equality. I don't know how much of that would have happened had not the past 5, 10, 15 years before that happened.
Oh, I get that. All right. And I've bit my tongue, not out of because I disagree with you, but this is like a 2-hour conversation that we could have right now.
I know.
And I don't want to get distracted from what we're doing right now. There's an entire conversation around that, and I think an important conversation.
Thank you, Bingley Austin.
Right. But to get to the meat and potatoes of that question, and I know Alex is trying to save me here, okay? And you can tell he's my best friend, or he's looking out for me. The fact of the matter is I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch documentaries, and I watch action movies. But even as a young man, I was an athlete. I spent a lot of time playing outside. The TV was a thing in my house, right, that I might turn on, I might turn off. I'd play some video games. But I still don't watch a whole lot of TV. And that started as a young man because my father was always taking us out hiking and stuff. We were always, as a family, doing stuff. So the TV was like an adjunct to life, whereas I know for a fact in our friend group, that's all that family did was watch TV. Right? So the answer would be no. And it's not just because, it's, this type of content. I just don't watch a whole lot of TV. And I don't watch a whole lot of romantic dramas. It's not something that... I was just telling you this, right? All right, like, everybody expects me to love all the guns and all the stuff, which I do. But I didn't even finish The Punisher, which is about a Marine blowing shit up after somebody killed his family, right? If I can't finish that stuff, romantic dramas just have no chance. And if you look through, like, when we began season 1 and where we ended season 1, you're watching in kind of real time the show and the story growing on me.
Yes.
All right. And there's a bunch of stuff that people love that I just didn't get into. My wife loves Breaking Bad. All right.
I've never seen it.
You'd probably like it. I don't know. I guess it's never get into it.
Yeah.
And that's something people expect. Oh, Carl, you would love that. I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. People think I would love Harry Potter. Not, okay. I mean, I'm not pressed to go watch.
Yeah, but I think it's also kind of out of our demographic at this point.
And, it's something that the girls love.
Yeah.
You know, so it's.
I mean, I think
So
I think if Harry Potter came out 10, 15 years earlier, it might have been something that we had watched,
Mhm.
but not, you know,
But
like,
you
like
know,
you said, everything else.
I enjoyed the Hunger Games. That was a great show. A movie, set of movies.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. The books were better.
I only read the first one.
All right, the books were better. I'm a big avid reader, so when I wasn't doing all this stuff in my youth, I would choose a book over TV any day of the week. The only time I really chose TV over anything else is when I got to hang out with my dad on Sundays to watch the Three Stooges and Godzilla movies
And
But
Looney
that-
Tunes.
and Looney Tunes. But that was bonding time with my father. Because my dad was so busy when I was a kid, and not because he didn't want to be home. He really wanted to be home, but his job he was always on call.
Yeah.
Right. So he carved out that time for my brother and I loved it, and nothing else mattered at that point.
Yeah.
All right, but I wouldn't have, and not because it's not a great show. It's just, not something that immediately jumps out at me. But I'm fully vested now. All right.
I think back to the earlier question. Like, I think you definitely turned into a will they, won't they on the El Tau ship.
Well, I did though, right? But it's not a will they, won't they. I said from get they will. Make your boy was right.
Launch all the ships.
Launch all the ships. Another one. David Whitkin asks, what do you think of the music in the various seasons soundtrack of Heartstopper? What is your favorite track for each year? So this is season 1, so we're talking about the tracks for season 1.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I'm actually pulling my phone over because I just want to make sure that I know the title and the track name. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I got it right here. I can go first.
You go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think my favorite is Alaska by Maggie Rogers. I don't know why, but I guess maybe the scene that it played in, or just the sound of the song, it just kind of resonated, and then I ended up downloading it onto my phone, and I think there was a hot minute there where I was just like listening to it on a loop. So it was like over and over and over and over again. But that's just me with music. Like, I'll find something I like, and this might just be a personality flaw, but I will play it into the ground. So, and I
It's not a
feel
personality flaw.
I feel bad for like the people around me, because like even when I was a teenager, like once I had my car, if you were like riding with me and there was a track or a song that I loved, it was like tape deck, rewind.
I have a very, very, very eclectic taste in music. I play musical instruments,
Guitar,
and piano.
anything else?
Piano.
Really?
I taught myself how to play the piano and sheet music in high school.
Ooh, I think
You want to know why? I don't know.
there was a girl.
There was a girl.
Yeah, there was a girl that
I married that girl.
there was a girl in high school that tried teaching me the piano, and I think I got as far as like the first few chords in Fur Elise, and that's all I know.
Huh? That's the first one I started learning.
Yeah.
I love music, and before we record, I'm usually listening to music, get myself in the mood and whatnot. And we went through Slipknot, we went through Fleetwood Mac, we went through Biggie Smalls this morning.
Oh, what was it? Last week it was Stone Temple Pilots.
Stone Temple Pilots, we were rocking out.
Wait, what was the other song?
We listened just like the Stone Temple Pilots last time.
Yeah.
I love me some SDP.
But that's the thing, though. I think that was like just popular when we were young.
Yeah, but I also have like.
I saw them in concert once.
Did you? I'm not a big concert person.
Really?
Yeah, I like crowds.
Well, it wasn't like a concert. It was like a music venue where they had multiple artists, one right after the other.
But I could go from Slipknot to Andre Segovia, like that.
I don't know what Under Segovia is. Yeah. You're making that like Monty Python face at me right now.
I don't expect you to know it. I don't expect you to know it. I mean, part of me does because you're Latin, and maybe that's a thing.
You also have to.
I know.
You understand that my parents' upbringing was not necessarily.
Yeah. That's why I said I
enough.
know. I was there. I was there. And somebody said that my I know is dismissive. It's not dismissive. I was there. That's why. Yeah, I know, man. I was there. But the music in the show in season 1, just not my jam. And I do like some at times soft music. A lot of times at work, I'll be listening to smooth jazz or some stuff like that, or even straight classical music, which I absolutely adore. All right, that stuff just doesn't. Music has to like vibe with me. I have to feel it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't do it for me. I'm not saying if you like it that it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad music. It's just not music that, I've ever been like drawn to, I guess.
Actually, I think I want to take that back.
What's that?
I just remembered.
What?
There's that scene where Ben and Charlie are racing each other
Mm-hmm.
and they're playing the track Because I Love You. And I think that's the name of the track. I think that's my favorite song in season 1.
Okay, there you go.
Wait, is that the only question on this page?
No, I know we were saying questions, all right. But I did want to
Acknowledge a comment?
acknowledge a comment.
Commentary.
Comments on the commentary. So, as the channel started to pick up steam and the episodes started to get a bunch of views, YouTube has started paying attention to us, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing. Because like we said in the channel update, and we've said in various comments, that we're trying these different things to avoid YouTube strikes. So,
And it's also a learning curve for me in the editing process, because I guess I have seen what other React channels do.
mm-hmm.
And I guess I keep second guessing myself because I'm like, wait, is the media audio too loud here? Is it too soft? Should I just like cut entire chunks and just throw them out? Like,
Yeah. You have to realize at the time of this recording, this channel is still less than a month old. We're figuring it out. You guys are on the ground floor, and we're taking your advice in on how to make it better,
Yep.
like and trying these things out in the back end in the editing process. But we'll find our balance. But yes, we're trying different things, and we do realize some of the stuff is not the quality we want to put out. We don't like it. Like I hate the reverse and the
so
haze.
I'm creating a 15% blur.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. But also saying that it might be necessary for when doing React content. So we got to find a balance.
Whoa, this is a long one.
This is a long one. All right.
Let's break it down.
Well, no. It's the core of this is something that a bunch of you have kind of alluded to and asked.
Do you want me to read it?
All right. So you don't have to read the entire thing, right? But it alludes to, is your scene set up, is your studio set up, and your shirts, Alex, is that on purpose? Would we do such a thing?
Yeah, I mean, being a fan of the show and knowing that the colors yellow and blue were such important to the characters in the show, I knew that when we started doing React for Heartstopper, I wanted to pull those colors into everything. So the background colors we set to yellow and blue, because I think for our podcast we have them set to red and blue.
Yes.
And
Blue for the Navy, red for the Marine Corps.
Correct. And I figured, well, since we have the ability to adjust so many different things, I was like, let's pull out, let's make this the set unique per
the piece of content.
the piece of content.
The piece of content we recorded and never saw the light of day was some Fallout stuff, right? And we had green going.
Yes.
And
no, we had yellow and blue in back, and then we had green coming in on the sides.
So I mean, so yes, we're being intentional, and we love that you guys have caught that. All right, and his shirts are on purpose.
I mean, yes, God. So, long story short, with the shirts is, I bought most of these comic book T-shirts back in college, like 10 years ago. That's mine.
That's yours.
Yeah. And you're like trying to swipe past my comment.
I didn't know that was your comment. Sorry.
So unfortunately, back then, I didn't fill out a small as much as I do now. And I have like 50 of these T-shirts just hanging in the guest bedroom closet. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, I was like, I don't wear these anymore. I never have an excuse to wear these anymore. Let me just start wearing them for the channel. And
There you go.
as soon as we started needing some like yellow and blue, I was like, you know what? I've got some yellow t-shirts. I've got some blue t-shirts. And specifically, I think this t-shirt in particular, I decided to pull out for the Q&A and the trailer reacts, because this is one of my favorite superheroes of all time.
Okay.
Do you know who it is?
No.
Read that comment.
Okay. But first, I want to say something. He's also bought more T-shirts. Okay.
Yes, but
he's also. I've seen his Amazon list. He's bought more T-shirts.
Yeah, but they're not medium. They're actual mediums.
But I'm saying it is your thought into what the audience might react to and enjoy is spilled into your current buy, your current Amazon cart.
I'm just justifying. Wow, wait. Who attached me to this table?
That would be you, sir.
Oh, well, I'll be right back. Read that comment.
Okay, so we're leaving mid. Oh, he's getting his shirts, I guess. Booster Gold, what a good big brother you are. I've got a long list of movies I'd like to force you to watch. I think you get hit out of the park with some emotional drama like Ordinary People, The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what any of this stuff is.
No. So thank you, Astro Wharf Craig. 9164. So I'm so glad that somebody actually noticed one of my favorite superheroes of all time.
Okay.
This. No, but for lack of a better word, yes, the t-shirts are intentional. This is probably one of my favorite superheroes, and I don't know. I guess no idea who this is?
No.
Well, there you go.
No idea.
So, long story short, time traveler from the future.
Okay.
Used to be a football player for the city of Gotham.
Okay.
And then started betting on his own games. And then pretty much got kicked out of the league. Right? So then...
Sounds like Pete Rose. I just lost most people.
No idea who that is. And...
Also dated myself. Yikes.
It's okay. But then had no prospects in his life and started working as a night janitor at the local museum. But this is like 500 years into the future. So what is in a museum from 500 years in the future? All of this stuff from the Age of Heroes, from present day in DC Comics. Okay. So he decides, you know what? Things back in the day were much easier. Why don't I just like steal a few things here and there and make my own superhero persona out of like all of this stuff in the museum? And he also steals a time machine and comes back in time. And so the origin of this character stems from the 1980s, when at the time there was this huge discussion in pop culture as far as, I guess, just general media or general culture about should Olympic athletes be allowed to receive sponsorships. So like an athlete put their face on a Wheaties box and all of a sudden it was this huge uproar of like, well, they're an athlete. They should be, happy that they are an athlete and nothing else. Like they shouldn't be getting money anywhere else for anything else. Like that was just the mindset from the general public in the 1980s.
Can you remember when Bruce Jenner's face got his likeness got put on the Wheaties box?
Nope.
I can. I remember seeing Bruce Jenner on the Wheaties box.
But that was the origin of this character. And not only was he kind of in it for himself, but also showboating and started like looking for like brand sponsorship deals to like put like logos onto his uniform, like almost like a NASCAR driver.
He did?
Oh my God. This guy is like a mess. But
so many comments.
Yes. But one of my favorite superheroes simply because over the period of the 80s, the 90s, and then by the time he gets to the 2000s, he realizes that he messed up. Okay. And he's trying to redeem himself. But regardless of what he does to redeem himself, everybody has already made up their minds about him.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he ends up getting recruited by another time traveler to go through the time stream to fix things in time. But now he's got a very important job to like make sure that things don't go awry, and no one will ever know that he did it.
He's a temporal agent.
Pretty much.
Where have I seen that before?
Oh, Star Trek Enterprise? Yeah.
Big Star Trek fan.
Yes. But that was it. That's pretty much everything about his character for the most part, except for he had a really strong relationship with Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And they were close friends in the 80s. And like there was actually for a while there like this just like blue and gold motif that like, between both characters. And I want to say that the moment in time when his character actually took a turn towards the positive and really just started becoming like a serious hero was after his best friend Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle at the time, was killed. And then he just kind of internalized that event, and it just kind of motivated him to be better. But yeah.
That is cool.
So one of my favorite superheroes.
Booster Gold.
Booster Gold.
So
now you know.
Those were the comments that got, a good amount of looks from season 1.
Yes. And I think because we took this slight break and our schedule kind of got twisted a little where originally during this time we were planning on doing daily releases. There's going to be a few season 2 episodes coming out that are going to be asking for Q&A commentary that was going to take place during the next week. So I would still like to do commentary.
We should do commentary Q&A per each season.
Yes.
I think it's an awesome way to interact with our audience.
Yep.
I think it's super important that we get to address these things and in a video format. And who knows, maybe
not just down there.
Not just down there in the comments. And maybe, who knows, in the future, maybe we do like a live event. I'm just spitballing in real time now.
Yeah.
I think all the things are on the table. We super enjoy doing this with you all, with each other. All right. It's not a chore at all. And season 3 is coming out, so I'm kind of excited to see where the story is going.
we need to finish season 2 today.
We're going to finish season 2 today. But yeah, really, really, really cute story. And I know that in the beginning I wasn't so high on some of the things, but like most things in life, it takes me a while to warm up the stuff. All right, maybe you guys will get a hint to my personality. My favorite superhero of all time, Wolverine. Okay, so
I mean,
it fits.
5'7.5".
Well, 5'7.5", loner, constantly in pain, constantly in emotional turmoil, constantly misunderstood.
Yes,
That's
but also
always wanted to do right, but always thought that he was not the person to be doing right.
Yes, but also depended upon, and at least in the stories that I've read, constantly being pulled forward into a leadership situation.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah,
that's also true.
Because I think one of my favorite animated. I mean, I love X-Men, the original animated series, but I feel like a very good underrated animated series was Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yep. But yeah, so it gives you some insight. It takes me a while to warm up things, even things that I'm gung ho about. It's like, but we're there. So,
yeah, we're gonna jump back into watching more Heartstopper. But if you can definitely help us out, really thankful for everything that you guys have done for us so far. So if you could help do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe.
Tell your friends and your family about us. Everybody needs little Alex and Carl in their lives.
And with that, 1, 2, 3, let's go.